Hello, and welcome to Message in a Moment. We have a couple of moments together. Can you just rest for a second and let's talk about what are we pursuing? And here's my quote. Don't seek a ministry. Seek to know Christ. Seek to know Christ. The word know is an intimate term. It's more than just a head knowledge about knowing Christ. It's an experience. It's an intimacy where we know Him in that way. Paul in Philippians chapter 3 said, I want to know Him in the power of His resurrection. That word means I want to know Him from a position of being dead, which is what I was when I was without Him, to standing up again. It means to stand up again. So I want to know Him in the power of coming from death to life. I want to know Him in His compassion. It actually says I want to know Him in the fellowship of His suffering, and people think that we have to try to suffer like Christ. But what Paul was saying there is I want to know Him in the same compassion that He lived in. I want to know Him in the emotional strength that He had. I want to know Him like that. But then he says, I'm pressing toward the mark for the prize of a higher call. My pursuit is not a ministry. My pursuit is to know Him. I want to move into a mark of ministry, a higher call of ministry. I'm living on earth, but I want to live in the ministry of heaven on earth. Now, here's what I'd like to leave you with today is Hebrews chapter 4. I would suggest you read verses 1 through 11 because he's talking about in Hebrews there entering into a place of rest. And he says something that's so interesting. He says, labor to enter into rest. And when I read that, I thought, that's a confusing term. You tell me to work to enter into rest. And then you say work. So I looked it up. It means diligently pursue. That means that my joy today is not in what I can accomplish or what I can attain. My joy today is entering into His rest. And what that says is that I cease from my labor. See, so many of us want to work to impress God. We want to do something and for God to say, attaboy. Well, Paul was writing in Hebrews and he said, or whoever wrote Hebrews, I happen to think it was Paul, but he said, enter into rest. And that means stop trying to pursue a ministry. Just enter into rest and let then your knowledge of Christ be exposed to the world. That's the greatest ministry you'll ever have, is to let the world see you. Rest in His accomplished work. He's done it all for you. All you have to do is receive Him. I trust this is a blessing-filled day for you. Till we meet again, blessings.